if they do that, they're going to be very, 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 very tough to beat.
Wilson! Oh! And we are tied!
Let's go! Call the Bryce Beall.
And I don't ever let them forget where we come from.
Getting those phones out. Report me acting ignorant.
Zion Kris got his way through, and he may go! Kris is in! Houston leads out of nowhere!
Seventh heaven for Houston. The Cougars advance to their seventh Final Four.
Go Coogs! Let's go! It's so good! The dream remains alive for the Houston Cougars!
The dream may remain alive, but not quite for football just yet.
Hey, it's funny we got a highlight of Zion Kris on the intro, and we saw Zion Kris running the football tonight.
and a touchdown pass, yeah. But welcome to Let's Rage Coogs. This edition, Coogs' first loss of this season, 35-11 to Texas Tech. I am Kris Gardner. With me right now is Bryce Beall and Dayon Dunlap. Joining us as soon as he gets to the field will be Andy Yanez. Join us in the conversation. Today's show is brought to you by Steve Saxenian and the Saxenian Family, as well as Star Pizza. 35-11, Texas Tech. Who wants to go first? Your thoughts on the ball game, what we saw?
I guess I'll jump it off. I think what we saw was the class of the Big 12. We saw the best team in the Big 12 come out and make a statement on the road that they for real this year. Texas Tech has a talented roster. Not many holes in their team. I love their offensive scheme. I love their head coach. I mean, McGuire is a former high school head coach, and he fielded staff with a bunch of former high school coaches. So he done build relationships with kids and coaches around the state and the country where he's able to get he got the backing of a rich oil guy down there, but to NIL, but they have a talented roster. You saw that tonight. You saw a complete win from the start, the first play, from kickoff to the last play. That they were the better team. U of H battled. We'll get into that a little later about schematically what we saw and different details we saw. But I think initially we just played the class of the Big 12. Coming in, I was hoping that we show we taking steps. To be honest, I left thinking I really don't know about this team because we haven't played anybody, and that was the first team that we played that they like. We didn't look that offensively. Let me speak for offense. That ain't SFA, that ain't Rice, that ain't Oregon State. Those guys can really play, and so I left thinking, God, we got a lot of work to do.
Dayon?
Yeah, I kind of left thinking that I went into it thinking best case scenario, that kind of played well and he's able to make some plays and the defense played tough to keep us in the game and kind of would have to play well for us to win that game, but that didn't happen. I think the defense fought. They showed that they can compete in the Big 12 against a very good Big 12 offense in Texas Tech. But then offensively, I mean, from the very first play, that turnover, that hurts. That just hurts. And just from then on, and they were able to get momentum, get first downs, get into a rhythm offensively. It just showed us the difference from the defensive skill positions and the speed that Texas Tech has to have they're able to stop us. But a couple of plays just wasn't time. I saw some receivers breaking open, but it wasn't time to make some of those throws. And so I definitely saw a difference up front from their D line, how they were able to get pressure against our O line. And I think Texas Tech will be reckoned with here from the rest of the season. Like they got a tough game against Arizona State.
And I don't know how it looked like on TV, but I know in person, it just looked like they seemed more energetic, like they had a point to prove. Like they came into that stadium thinking, okay, we're gonna, that song, "Come to Your Trap, Take Over Your Trap." They had that type of mindset walking into the stadium, like we're coming down to Houston, we run Texas, and you can see the swagger about them with that, and I loved it. I was like, I looked over, I said, yeah, this is gonna be a long night. And then when Connor's form, I'm like, oh yeah, it's definitely going to be a long night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean this Cougs team is not good enough yet. We're talking about this
Not
season's
yet.
team to lose a turnover battle, especially in the first half, and win against a good team. And Tech, when Tech won at Utah, and how they won at Utah with really defense, that was really like the first sign of me, and speed on defense too, that they're the better team and they're the best team in the Big 12. And the Cougs aren't there yet. Year two with Coach Fritz, you see where they have to go, how far they have to reach. The D line, the pressure, the edge rushing. The O line for the Cougs has been a question mark all season. And against Tech's edge rushers, it was a problem again. So it's to be expected. Better team won.
Yeah, absolutely. Better. It's not one of those games you're thinking, oh man, play here, play here. I really feel like right now Texas Tech just have a complete roster, and their roster is better than our roster. And would I want us to come out and be a little more schematically better? Yes. Handle pressures with throwing. We teach this in high school. Wherever the blitz is coming from, throw right behind it. Because obviously they got somebody screaming to that area or it's going to be a hole in the defense. And it seems like we have no concepts where, okay, get rid of the ball quicker. Because and that's why we keep saying like the O-line, a little bit is on the line. They struggled, but a lot of those pressures that was happening, the guys were untouched. And when that happens, that lets me know that we're not seeing it with offense when we slide in our protection. We're not calling out the right protection wise, and I don't know if it's a quarterback calling out protection or if it's up front O line calling out protection. But we have to do a better job communicating so we'll be able to put a body on a body, at least slow it up a little bit. And then we got to have hot reads off of it so we can get the ball out quicker. But I left. It was not a doubt in my mind. Seeing it up close, Texas Tech is the more talented team, and that's why we're bringing in a really talented class. We're bringing in players. It's gonna turn around. They better get us now. I remember. What's the name said that UConn head coach in basketball told before UConn on their run that you better get us while I'm building this thing right now. So I feel that way about U of H football. Like they better get us now because if we keep on building talent like we're getting in, we're gonna be a problem to deal with.
And I want to say this real quick, 'cause Andy joined us from the field. Ironically, the Cougs receivers won a lot of battles against Tech's defensive backs.
Yes, they did.
So Tech's line and linebackers, their front seven, I was impressed. But their defensive backs, I, I was not as impressed as I was with their front seven.
No, they were not. They were getting beat consistently by UH receivers. Kobe Young, Dayon, you called it in our weekly in our preview of the game. He had a hell of a play in the first quarter. That right there, I think. Now it's very hyperbolic to say, but Houston had to score a touchdown on that drive. It was 9-0. They were down 9-0 at that point. They had a big play by Kobe Young. If they score a touchdown there, it becomes 9-7, and all of a sudden you have a different mindset about the game. The offense has some confidence about it, and they just couldn't do it. They couldn't score a touchdown. They couldn't punch it in. They settled for 3, and lo and behold, Texas Tech went up 15-3 later on at that point. But you're right, Kris. The receivers were making big plays. It's just that after Connor Weigman got injured, they weren't able to target down the field, and just consistently overall, Texas Tech, their front seven and their linebackers, they did a good job of just not giving Kris or Connor Weigman enough time to be able to get it to those receivers. And then more often than not, those quarterbacks felt the pressure of this defense from Texas Tech. Tip of the cap to the Red Raiders, because they showed out why they're the 11th ranked team in the country, and by this time tomorrow, they'll be a top 10 team in the country.
Easily, yeah. Yeah, that front seven is suffocating. I mean, like they give you nothing, and they're coming after you. So when they can wear you down with that front seven like that, it makes you one dimensional. And when it makes you one dimensional, those corners, like you said, yeah, they couldn't cover us. Like they really couldn't. But because they were so dominant up front and with their scheme and getting to the quarterback, that it kind of, I mean, if you only got to cover for a second and a half, I mean, and I really feel like they got after us up front. But like I said, I really believe we have to. I wouldn't say we don't have O line time. We have O line time. There's some guys up front like they can really play. But we don't have the type of talent right now to go against that front we saw tonight.
Yeah, Bryce, to hit the nail right on the head. It felt like Texas Tech was a level above UH, especially on offense. They just didn't have the horses, and especially up front, offensive line. They had some big plays here and there, but even then, it wasn't consistent enough. Going back to that Kobe Young catch, right? They get momentum, and then they just can't capitalize on it because Texas Tech overwhelmingly was just a more dominant force on defense. And even on the defensive side of the ball, give credit to UH's defense. I know for the most part, you look at it, just scoreboard 35-11 final score. It's not going to look on it. But for the most part, the defense did a good job of bending, but not breaking, especially early on in that first
Mm-hmm.
half, because UH's offense produced almost nothing. They had that touchdown score right before the half. And then even then, again, the defense hold. They force a field goal, and Texas Tech misses, and they're
Missed.
going into the locker room 25-11, and Houston gets the ball first in the second half, and they're not able to capitalize. The defense did enough to keep them within the game, keep them within striking distance, but the offense is just not there yet. And it's the silver lining, at least from this game, is that there are a couple plays here and there for making this a much more competitive game. But it was quite obvious that Texas Tech is at a level above Houston at this point, in just where there are both in the season and as programs when it comes to football.
And something we haven't talked about: Texas Tech quarterback is really really good.
Hmm.
You don't hear much about him. You hear about all these other names that don't pan out, the Arch Mannings and all that. That guy has complete control of that offense. Like he's confident. He knows where he's going with the ball, and he gets the ball to the playmakers. And then with those receivers, shout out to Caleb Douglas. That's my boy. Coached him at Hightower. He made plays for him, and it made it difficult. Our defense, like you said, they didn't break. But that guy right there, I was really impressed. Like he has command of the offensive quarterback does. Like you can tell he understands what. Now I was hoping he didn't play. I thought we was gonna get a chance to go without him, but he is one of the best in the Big 12, and if not the country, of having complete control of it all. It kind of I'm not he's not Case Keenum, but the way the control he has the offense, it reminded me of Case like.
Let's talk about. I think Joe touched on it. The kicker interference.
Ah,
That
I,
hurt us right there.
I
Hurt
mean
some of
That
our
that
play.
was that was the worst
that
call
was
I've ever
horrible.
seen. That is the worst call that I've ever seen with my two eyes. I don't understand it. When I saw it live, I said, "There's well, maybe they call an illegal block in the back. Maybe it was something on
yeah.
the back end. There's no way that's kick catch interference. First, I don't understand how it can be kick catch interference when the receiving player literally bobbles the ball before any single person touches him. I looked at
Mm-hmm.
it on the jumbotron, saw the exact same thing. I said, "Well, it can't be that." And then after all the replays, they still call kick catch interference. I asked head coach Willie Fritz about that after the game. I don't know if we played the post game presser yet from head coach Willie
Not yet.
Fritz. Um, Even he kept it politically correct, right? He didn't want to get no fine, but he said, I'll have to go back and look at it and hear an explanation. You can tell it even from his non-answer that he didn't agree with it, and that very well, Houston, at that point, obviously they were struggling on offense. That was kind of the story of the night for the Houston offense. But at that point, they would have recovered deep inside Tech territory early in the first quarter before Connor Weigman got injured. That could have been another
That's a
turning
momentum
point. And
changer.
instead,
It
Texas
was
Tech.
6-0, right? Wasn't it 6-0?
Yep.
Yes, that,
Yeah.
that changed the
Yes, it
whole
was six
game.
nothing, and I think they took that and they ended up scoring that field
I mean,
goal to put them up 9-0 in that
Mm-hmm.
drive. So, and instead, Houston should have had the ball deep inside Texas Tech territory. Now, again, just one play, microcosm, not necessarily have to do with how the game played out, right? I mean, Texas Tech still dominated Houston's offense, but that right there, I mean, we got to call it like we see it. That's the worst call that I've ever seen in the 6 years that I've seen college football. That's terrible.
No, what it done is instead let's say we get it, we scored. Now the building's alive. Like that those are the type of
Mm-hmm.
things that it don't show up in the stat sheet, but momentum and the crowd staying with it, staying in it, getting excited. We up on Tech. You just never know. Certain way that could slow down Tech's front seven.
Mm-hmm.
That could speed up U of H's mojo. Those type of things are plays that change the game completely, and that play definitely changed the game. It was.
Uh-oh. It was a horrible call. I mean,
Terrible call.
it
I
wasn't
was
even
disappointed
like
in that. Like
it
very
was close,
disappointed. But
like the first play
I think we let them know how we felt about it.
on Connor's pass, lateral, whatever. I mean, that was like borderline. Was it
That was
behind the
iffy.
line?
I still think that's a forward pass
I
too.
do
I don't think
too,
that's not a lateral. He
but
literally,
it was close. Okay,
yeah,
close. This kick catch interference thing.
he's bobbling it before anybody even touches him.
Who was it? Was it Kobe? He was like a step and a half from getting to
Before the Texas
the
Tech player bobbled the ball. I don't get the rationale from that. And I was sitting on the field when that happened, and Chris Baldwin from Paper City was sitting right next to me, or standing right next to me, and I asked him, "That's terrible. That's the worst call I've ever seen." That call made me think whether they do pool reporting for the officials after the game, because damn it, if they did, I would want to personally ask the referee what was the rationale for that kick catch interference, because I still don't understand it.
and even the sideline officials missed the push in the back.
That
Because
part.
even if you want to say Kobe was close, but he wasn't, he was pushed. He was close because he got pushed into the punt return man. Horrible call. I mean, horrible call.
Terrible.
Oh, we need a Charles Barkley clip. Terrible. That was terrible.
Terrible.
That was terrible.
That was terrible.
That was terrible.
I've never seen a worse call.
Oh man. But Andy, if you want to play Coach Fritz, we can go and pull that up. Or I'm going to do it. What do you want me to do?
You got to do it. I'm
Okay.
streaming from my phone.
All right.
Let's hear head coach Willie Fritz. Before you press the clip, this is Let's Rage Coogs presented by the Saxenian Family. Big thank you to Mr. Steve Saxenian for being the primary sponsor of this edition of Let's Rage Coogs. If you're a Texas Tech fan that wants to hate, I don't think we've had any of the Rage Raiders comments so far. Listen, I'll give Texas Tech credit, right? They came in here and kicked Houston's ass 35-11, but it was not 60-40. That was like 80-20, 75-25. Houston fans showed out. But anyways, big thank you to Mr. Steve Saxenian. Big thank you to Mike and Jennifer Pittman with Star Pizza for being the secondary sponsor in this edition of Let's Rage Cougs. That being said, let's hear what head coach Willie Fritz had to say following Houston's 35-11 loss to the Red Raiders.
When we needed to, we talked about the plan to win all the time. We didn't do a good job of that. You know, we certainly didn't control the running game. I thought we tackled extremely poorly, and we, offensively, we didn't get bodies on bodies. We weren't able to run the ball effectively throughout the game, and played okay in the kicking game, I guess. And had some foolish penalties, and the game was out of hand in the fourth quarter, so there wasn't an opportunity to really finish. But disappointing. As I talked about on Monday, they're a really, really good football team. Very well coached, and they're very, very talented. Bigger team than we've probably played so far this year. And, we knew we were going to have to play real good, and we didn't play real good. Questions?
Willie, what happened to Connor, and do you have an update on his condition?
When we get done here, I'm going to go down and talk to trainers, find out exactly. I just didn't feel like he could stay in there and play, so I'm going to talk to them and the docs and kind of get a prognosis exactly where he's at right now.
Do you think it was on kind of just a game as a whole, or was it at one particular play? Or
yeah, you got it hurt, and I got to see to what extent.
Willie, the early turnovers, even with your defense holding the 3, how much did that set you guys back and sort of,
Well, it's tough, when I thought our defense answered the bell quite a few times. Then you got to respond offensively, and we didn't do that. I didn't think we tackled real well throughout the ball game. Didn't play very good leverage. A lot of times we got the ball on the perimeter, and our force player jumped inside. But yeah, those would have been nice if we wouldn't had to, even play some of those snaps because of the turnover. But we got to play better than offensively. Got to play a lot better than offensively, and we put a few things together, and we just couldn't sustain drives. And if you're not going to sustain drives, you better have some big shot plays, and I think we had a couple of those.
Coach, you mentioned being able to sustain drives early in the first quarter. You guys had a play there. Y'all get down in the red zone, have a chance to score, and end up kicking a field goal. I think it was 9-3 at that point. How big was it, to have to settle for a field goal instead of punching it in for a touchdown?
We talk all the time about 4-point plays, touchdowns instead of field goals, 7 points instead of 3 points, and we just didn't execute when we got the ball down there. I thought it was a really nice catch by Kobe Young to get us down there, but we didn't get the touchdown out of it. Those are big plays.
Well, what did you think of the pressure that they brought from their defensive line?
They did a good job. They're big, physical, quick. They got defensive ends. They got tremendous movement and speed, and do a good job of rushing on the edges. And they got big fellas inside, that can move as well. So, very good defensive line.
Willie, you got
we worked on that play and just didn't execute it. And that certainly doesn't get you started off very good. So that was not good. I just had to talk with those guys about it. It's the first time we've had to deal with a loss this season. And we got to self-reflect on what we did well, what we did poorly. I told them, obviously, I did a poor job. And I'm going to find, ways to improve this week. But we can play better than that. And for us to win, we're not going to roll the ball out. We're going to have to play well all 3 phases. We don't have to play perfect, but we got to play good. And we didn't do that tonight.
So once again, that was Houston Cougars head coach Willie Fritz. Didn't really have an update in terms of the Connor Weigman injury. Kind of said that they will find out. He will find out more from the medical staff, and gave a non-answer to that. So we'll see. Hopefully, it's not a long-term lingering issue, and he's able to come back a week against Oklahoma State. But we obviously will monitor that, see what the actual injury is. The quote of the night from the presser was "poor performance." That's what Willie Fritz called this effort from the Houston Cougars in this game against Texas Tech. He took responsibility, which, not to hang on too much about previous administrations, but that's something you'd like to see from your coach, take responsibility. And he said it was on him for the poor performance by the Houston Cougars come out. But at the end of the day, flat out, they just didn't do enough. They weren't ready to compete at the level of Texas Tech, and they paid for it with the lopsided score that it was. And we will see what the injury report status is of Connor Weigman going forward.
Bryce, what do you think about Coach's comments?
You hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. He sound Coach Fritz always sounds like he is he's just, even when we win, he sounds like like the game just took a lot out of him. I really think he probably sounded like he had a little frustration with the offense. Like he wants to see something get done. He understands Connor went down, but even when Connor was in there, it was like we wasn't blocking anybody. He said we weren't putting bodies on bodies, and that's exactly what we saw. Like we're not moving guys right now like we need to. But it's hard to move that front that they have. So. But you want to see them fight a little harder, like compete. One thing I always heard about Willie Fritz teams is they compete really hard and they fight. And I would like to see more that when you're overmatched like how we were tonight, you gotta scratch, you gotta make it a street fight, and I don't think we did that.
I think it stood out when he talked about the size of the team
Yes.
that they face, especially up front, especially with their defensive line. And I think that was the difference, and this more of a difference that Coach Fritz and staff were really taking into account what it takes to be in the upper echelon of the Big 12 and really compete at a high level. Because not only Big 12, but other schools there, it's routinely in the college playoffs. They got a lot of size up front, D-line, O-line.
Size up front, and then combine that with speed because, and we talked about it before we started the show. The difference Shield Wood has made in Tech's defense.
Absolutely.
I
Big
mean, Tech
difference.
plays defense now. Previous years
They
when
dominate.
when they were having some success, their offense got it done, but their defense they'd give up 45 points, whatever, But this
Yeah.
defense is got speed, got size, and I mean,
They're
they are the best
dominant.
team in the Big 12. Yeah,
But Chris says right. I feel like the Houston defense did play well enough. They just kept getting put in position. The Houston defense kept getting put in position, again to have to hold. And at the end, if you give that Texas Tech offense that many chances with the talent that they have, uh, you could have any defense out there, but eventually they're going to be able to overcome, and that's what the Red Raiders did. Yeah, Crabtree too. Mentioning, I mean, Utah did lose by 24. And it's just a kudos to Texas Tech. Like Bryce said, this is a really, really talented squad. That I would be very surprised if they are not playing in Arlington when it comes to the Big 12 championship game come December. To be honest, I think they're on a clear path to that championship game. It's just a matter of who they meet in that game. But um, give credit to Texas Tech. They look real dominant out there, and they showed that they're just flat out a level above Houston tonight.
and we got Arizona State on the road, and then a home for BYU. So that's probably on paper, their two
They're two
toughest
toughest.
games remaining.
Well, I will say this now. That we got a long way to go.
Sure.
Um, but Control Web, I just found this very
Jumped out
interesting.
tough.
He said that now, granted, whether this happens or not, he said, maybe we'll see this team down the road. You could call it delusion. Maybe you'll call it the offense being or the team being legit, but they they feel like they can see Texas Tech down the road. Now, whether that actually happens or not, Houston kind of has to run the table now for that to happen. And obviously, Houston still has some tough opponents when we're thinking they have to go to Arizona State. But you could tell the frustration in Control Web specifically, Ed, and hopefully we get to play the comment from him, post game comments later on in the show. Um, but I feel going back to Bryce's comment, Houston feels very disappointed because it doesn't. Yes, Connor Weigman got injured, but they just flat out got bullied, for the lack of a better word, by Texas Tech. They were in complete control from the opening kickoff. The Red Raiders were just doing whatever they wanted to, and again, granted, the Houston defense was able to hold them to field goals at the beginning, but there was never a point in this game where I was like, okay, you know what, Houston might be able to come back or they have some momentum going. It was always like, Texas in control. Yeah, they got that touchdown, but I don't really think that Houston has any momentum going. And lo and behold, they did it, and they got shut down at 11 points in the entire second half.
Well, let me just put it out there. Cougs are 4-1. Got 7 more games left in the regular season.
Yep.
Let's say Connor Weigman is gonna be out for 3 games. How many games can they win without Connor Weigman?
Their next games are Oklahoma State, which, they, on paper they should be able to go up and beat Oklahoma State. That is, they lost their head coach. They're at a different stage in their
Head coach, defense,
program.
everything.
Yep.
Yep.
And then they got to play Arizona at home after that. Two very winnable games for Houston.
Without Connor Weigman?
Oh no.
I think they can beat Oklahoma State without Weigman. If he's out for the Arizona game, that one becomes very, very much more difficult.
Dayon?
If they unmuted, I can't.
Yeah, I can hear you, man. Yeah.
I'm just saying I agree. I agree with you, Andy. I agree with Andy 100%. I'm wondering why we haven't seen Austin Carlisle yet. You get 4 games before his red shirt is burned. I mean, tonight would have been a perfect opportunity to get him some playing time, get him some reps, and get some real Big 12 speed and size out there to see how he looked. So maybe we see him in a couple games. But without Connor, I agree with Andy.
If Weigman is out for an extended period of time, I think we see him because, again, now Kris, he had a good pass right before
I
halftime and led
absolutely
to the
think he's gonna
touchdown, and
see
then
it.
he had another good pass for the 2-point conversion. But he's just, as a passer, he's not. Um, he
Consistent.
just doesn't have the passing ability to be able to win a lot of games for Houston, to have a consistent success on offense. He has an opportunity to be a little explosive when it comes to the run game, but he's very, very one dimensional for the most part. And like you mentioned, Dayon, if Connor Weigman is out for an extended period of time, hopefully we do get to see more of Austin Carlisle, or something, some kind of package. And we'll see how that goes. Now, Luis Rivas, he doesn't. It's interesting. He says UH doesn't win games because of Connor Weigman, so he doesn't expect it to have a significant impact. I disagree. They don't win that Oregon State game without Connor Weigman making those throws that he did. They don't beat Colorado, in my opinion, without Connor Weigman. He was in complete control of that game. Um, but we'll see. Again, hopefully it's not a long-term injury and he's back sooner rather than later. But at this point, we just don't have enough information. Um, in terms of what the
Yeah.
injury is, I don't know specifically what got him injured. Whether it was a specific kid or an
I was gonna say,
accumulation,
Coach
so we
Chris
shall
didn't say
see.
anything about it at the presser.
He gave a non-answer. He said he has to see with the medical staff and see what they'll tell him, but he kept it very close to the vest.
What do you think about
Yeah,
what? Go ahead, Andy. I'll say the same thing. Go ahead.
yeah,
Crabtree.
Crabtree's comment. You're not going to see a defense like Tex the rest of the season. You can win the majority of your remaining games, but the offense has to get much better. What do y'all think that happens? Connor Weigman has to be healthy for Houston to win. You know, I think at this point they're 4-1. I think the toughest games on the schedule left are Arizona State. I think that's the big one. Um, in order for Houston, well, what is the goal, right? I think at this point, sitting at 4-1, heading into the season when we would have considered a bowl game a win, I think now we're at a point where I at minimum, I think they should get 7 wins, 8 wins, 8-4, 7-5. I would say that's more of a successful season, which we kind of hinted at early on in the season. Uh, I don't know if Houston can get there without Connor Weigman. Although they got to play West Virginia, they got to play Oklahoma State. So those two maybe potentially could be wins even without Connor Weigman. But just seeing with the offense in that second half and how one-dimensional it was, I mean, damn it, they called a draw play on 3rd and 10 and 3rd and longs multiple times. It goes to show the confidence that they don't have, in my opinion, in Kris as a passer.
And it was like that last year.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
so, um, yeah, hopefully we get an update on him. We definitely need Connor. I think those games are winnable. I think for offense, just with Connor, quick passing game. Yeah, I think that helps out the offensive line. Get us in a quick passing game. Yeah, I think that'll help. Also, our run game, really didn't get our run game going much. I think we need to get. Uh, I mean, Connor. I mean, what's his name?
Dean
Our
Connors.
running Dean
Dean
Connors.
Connors.
I think he's a good back, but we need a change up because sometimes a play might be blocked for 7 or 8, and he can get that, but then he don't got like that ability to get you that 12, 15 or plus. You know what I'm saying? And but he's I don't so he's good. He's been solid. I don't want to undermine his play or anything, but I just think we missing that next level of explosion from the back. That'll help as well.
And I just think the offensive line was overwhelmed tonight. When we look at the rushing numbers for Houston, Kris was the leading rusher, and a lot of those came on scramble with 59 yards. Dean Connors had 13 carries for just 31 net yards. His longest run of the night tonight against Texas Tech was 11 yards, and then Connor Weigman too was third in rushing. He had 24. Actually, no, he had 7 total net yards, but he had one rush of 14, and then they only had Stacy Snead out there, so when it came to rush. So they do have a lot of versatility in the backfield. We don't necessarily know where they're at when it comes to Jamarion Burnett and his health level, or even DJ Butler. We mentioned him last show, right? He had a couple of nice runs against Oregon State. But in this game against Texas Tech, I just didn't feel like there was a lot of runs that they gave to Dean Connors, and he just literally had nowhere to go. He was swarmed immediately when they handed the ball. And granted, it's Texas Tech, and that's arguably the best defensive line in the Big 12. But I agree with you, Dayon. I just, I don't know the caliber of opponents outside of the Colorado game. It just seems like everything when it comes to the rushing attack for Houston, it just seems like it's very, very difficult. Like everything has to be hard earned, and there's not as many easy runs or big holes for the running backs to just be able to make big plays. And I agree when it comes to Dean Connors and being able to make something out of nothing. It's just not consistent enough when it comes to that. Um, to be honest, I don't know if they have a running back that can make something out of nothing so far on this particular team.
Jamarian Burnett got blown up when Tech edge rusher beat the right tackle on a move inside and blew him up Burnett for a 4-yard loss. So rushing up the middle has been an issue against. I mean, Tech, they got pressure from the edges. They got pressure
All over the
from
place.
the middle. I mean,
It was ugly.
Coogs defense. Ugh. I mean, Coogs offense on third down, was it 1 for 12? That what it was?
That's what,
struggled all night.
Crabtree said. No, yep, he is correct. 1 for 12 on third downs. Fourth down, 2 of 5. They had 3 turnovers on downs, and then of course, turnovers. 3 turnovers for Houston, which is not the recipe for success for this Houston Cougars offense. I mean, Dayon and I touched on it in the pregame show that we did earlier in the week. But in order for Houston to have a chance to pull out the upset, they had to take care of the ball. They had to win the time of possession battle. And from the get-go, especially in that first quarter, Houston was their worst own enemy. And they got absolutely dominated in time of possession. Texas Tech controlled the ball for 37, almost 38 minutes of game time, while Houston only had 22.
Looking at the stats, third down, Cougs, third and long, so 9+ yards, 0 for 5. Third and short, 1 to 4 yards, 1 for 4. Tech, third down passing, 5 for 11 for 121 yards. Cougs, 2 for 8 for 1 yard. Tech was 9 for 18 on third down, which aids into time of possession, keeping the Cougs defense on the field and owning the ball.
Yeah.
Possession of the ball. And Tech is the team to beat in the Big 12.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we said that all show. And the Cougs are not good enough this year to lose the turnover battle. And when Weigman, who is the Cougs' best quarterback, turns it over, that's a bad sign. I mean, right when he's turned it over, that's just a bad sign.
One thing I do want to touch on, granted, it's just one game, 4-1. They have to play Oklahoma State. It is a road game, by the way, at 11 a.m. kickoff time between Houston and Oklahoma State. But the big thing is going to be what the health update is on Connor Weigman and whether he'll be out for an extended period of time. But I don't know. I'll be curious to see how this team responds to a loss, and quite frankly, a loss where they just got flat out dominated by a better team. Um, can they shake it off, or do we see some residue effects that we've seen from previous Houston Cougars team, and have those mistakes become compounded, and then we go from a 4-0 team to 4-2 and 4-3 team a week or two from today. It's going to be very interesting to see how this Houston Cougars team responds.
Yeah, we'll see how they respond. I think Coach Fritz, this team is different, but we'll see. Oklahoma State is winless, but the Cougs
They've given up.
cannot let this loss lead to another loss.
Yep.
And you'll start a losing streak. I mean, for this team to be 4-1 after 5 games, we're good with that. I think we were all taking that after 5 games.
Absolutely.
For this year's team. And they have a chance to be 5-1 with a win next Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
We take that for sure. So got a chance to bounce back with or without Connor Weigman.
Yep.
Because Oklahoma State's defense is nowhere nearly as good as Texas Tech's defense. So the Cougs offense has a chance. Like we said, covering sports, covering basketball. Dayon has said it. It could be a get right game for the offense. Could be.
Hopefully.
Now let's see if they do it.
Hopefully Wegman's not seriously injured.
Yeah, gotta have Connor back. Yeah, that's gonna depend on a lot. Definitely gotta have Connor back.
But I'm going to play really, really Mr. Pessimist. What if, Connor, he's had a history of injuries. What if he's unable to play the rest of the season? Dayon, would you want to burn the red shirt of Austin Carlisle if Connor's out for the rest of the year?
Depends how he plays. I mean, I think
Yeah.
you want to see him first, and if he's winning, you keep playing, or if he's having some success. But yeah, you got to at least see him first.
Shoot, like Dayon said, he's got 4 games to spare.
Right.
Next season, like we're just be honest, right? We're gonna call a spade a spade. Keyshawn Henderson's gonna come in here and he's expected to be QB1. In my opinion, like I don't see any scenario where he's not QB1. So you might as well find out what you have in Austin Carlisle and why not? If that is truly what happens and Connor Weigman is out for the entire season or at least for an extended period of time, find out what he has. Growing pains. It won't. There'll be ups and downs, but I would rather have the ups and downs with Austin Carlisle than have it with Zeon Kris, who you know for a fact is not going to be your long-term answer.
But is Austin Carlisle? I mean, we'll have to find out. I mean, will we find out? Is he more of a passer or a running quarterback?
There's only one way to find out.
Or design the offense for around his strengths, whatever he does well, whatever that is.
Bryce said he's something like Johnny Manziel. Johnny Manziel was a dual threat.
And CA37 says it perfectly. Zeon looked the same. Now,
Zeon
whether it was play calling, but based on the play calling, it seems like the Houston coaching staff doesn't
they
have
see him every day in
confidence.
practice. So
yeah. So I mean, at that point, like you already know what you have in one. You might as well figure out what you have in another in Austin Carlisle, and maybe his ceiling is much higher than Zeon Kris. So why not?
That's why I was surprised and disappointed in the 4th and 2 call, and they had Zeon drop back to pass.
I don't get that at all.
And I'm like, the O-line is not good enough against Tech's D-line. Zeon is not a great passer. So why you have him drop back to pass?
Put him in a position to fail.
Yeah. Just do a run play for him.
A QB draw.
Something, but that...
And that's something I wish they would have utilized more in, and this is not with Zeon. This is when Connor Weigman was still in the game. In that drive, the one drive where Kobe Young made that big play and they had a 1st and goal situation. They picked up a 1st down on that drive after the big play by doing a QB draw with Connor Weigman. I would have loved to see them do it at least once down in the goal-to-goal situation. They went away from it, and ultimately they were unable to come away with any touchdown on that drive. But that's for the coaching staff to
figure out.
Call and figure out.
And Slade Nagel, we've given him credit when he's made adjustments, good adjustments in the game. He's got to see that the tackles are not good enough against edge rushers. He's got to make better play calls to counter
Bingo.
that.
Max protect.
I was waiting for that too. Max protect something.
Max protect, because you got to see that your receivers are winning, so they're winning on the back end. Do 2-man concepts, do 3-man concepts, and keep 8-7 men. Do whatever you got to do to give them time, but you got to give them time. You can't let them be flustered and get happy feet all day. We saw that last year But Donovan got happy feet, and he became a bad player. When you don't trust what you got up front, that's what happens. You're exactly right, Chris. You got to do a better job of helping your tackles out by either sliding protection to whichever who you think is the stronger side, or even adding an extra bigger body in there. Keep a tight end in there to give them let your tackle know, okay, you got inside, I got you help on the outside. Do anything like that to keep your quarterback upright. You hit it on the nail with that one.
You know, I wanted to see running back, tight end, receiver, somebody chip the edge rusher a few times. You know, something to slow down the edge rush. And they didn't do that. So if you're not doing max protect, do something to slow down what is blowing up your tackles. So that was a big disappointment, especially in the second half.
I think that's been something that we've talked about in the past. Just 5 games in, adjustments sometimes, in-game adjustments on offense in particular, something is slow for our liking.
Who else went to the podium?
Post game, it was Dean Connors and just Control Webb. Those two were the only players that spoke after the game. Dean
Which one?
Connors, you could tell the disappointment in his face. He said they just have to do a better job of executing, and he said it doesn't matter who the play caller is. They have to go out there and execute, and they have confidence, whether it's Dayon, Kris, Connor Weigman, being the play caller, being the quarterback back there, which, it's what would you expect from a player, but you could visibly tell the frustration about how this game went. And then Control Webb in particular, you could really see it on his face, just the frustration with how it played out. It was funny. The last question I believe that he was asked was if it felt like a home game, and he shut down any notions that it did not feel like a home game. He said, "Hell yeah, there was a lot of blue out there. It definitely was a home game." So again, shout out to Houston fans. I don't think it was that, quote unquote 70-30 takeover that Tech fans made it seem like it was going to happen. I think there was a lot of Houston blue in the crowd. There was a lot of excitement in the game. I know for a fact there was a lot of general fans that just came in, and this might have been the first Houston game that they checked out in a long time, if not the first time ever. And the biggest thing that kind of hurts is they really didn't get a lot of excitement when it comes to the UH perspective. But they'll have more opportunities. I think the silver lining that we look at it, this game was so big, it's because Houston was 4-0 at this point. Like you mentioned, Kris, they're sitting at 4-1. If you would have asked us, any of us, at the beginning of the season that Houston would have been 4-1 through 5 games, we would have taken that in a heartbeat. Now they just got to make sure that it doesn't compound into more losses, into a losing streak. And regardless of who's under center for Houston come next week against Oklahoma State, that they can clean up a lot of these, specifically when it comes to run blocking and execution on offense. Even on defense with the tackling, Control Webb was really frustrated with that. He felt like the defense had a lot of missed tackles. And when asked, like, was that a tech thing, he was quickly shut that down. He felt like it was more the defense just not being able to finish plays.
And you want me to play Kentrell's comments?
Yeah, let's hear what Control Webb had to say after the game.
Control, Willie was telling us that it was the first time you guys dealt with the loss and talking in the locker room. How do you feel like the team needs to respond or just bounce back from this type of game?
We just got to keep our head up. It's one loss. Still a lot of season to go. So it's hard for some guys. We haven't lost this season, so some guys haven't. They don't know that feeling. So the leaders are doing a good job of just keeping everybody head up and keeping everything positive in the locker room.
Kendra, how do you evaluate your play as well as the rest of the defense, just consider, all things considered?
Say it again.
How do you evaluate you and the rest of the defense's play, given all things considered?
I feel like we missed a lot of tackles. We left a lot of plays out there, but we did force them a good offense to kick a lot of field goals. So we had a lot of pressure on us, but we feel like we did what we can, but we did leave a lot of plays out there, so it's going to be the focus for next week.
You mentioned that first 3 drives, they get in the red zone and have to settle for field goals. As a defense, at that point, how were you guys feeling just being able to
feeling good? Them out the end zone? We were feeling really good. When you get a good team like that in their own, goal line area, and you stop them, 4-point plays is big. So it was good for us. We were feeling good. We were just waiting on the offense to pop off.
when you have those, holds, holding the three, um, but then, it just keeps sort of building. How hard is that to, keep trying to stop an offense like that?
It's hard. It is hard. I'm honestly, but that's kind of what we signed up for as a defense. As a unit, we signed up to help our offense. And you gotta go out there, bow up, make the play.
Did you feel like you needed one of those big momentum plays like a first half takeaway or a fourth down stop to really feel like you got this game?
Not necessarily. We were trying to get at the ball. We've been trying to focus on the ball, get at the ball, rip at the ball. Just the opportunity can present itself. But I feel like we don't necessarily need that to. So we want that, obviously, but we don't necessarily need that to get the game going.
Control, you mentioned the missed tackles. What would you attribute that to? Was it a Texas Tech thing, or what are your thoughts on that?
Nah, that's all us. Just technique, fundamentals, something you got to practice. They're a good team. Shoot, they practice breaking tackle just like we practice tackling. So, that's the name of the game, tackling, getting the guy down. So we just got to improve on that.
You guys get that, you scoring the 2-pointer right before the half. What was the talk in the locker room? Did you guys feel like you had a chance at the point you were back in it?
Oh, for sure. We had life up until 0-0-0 on the end of the clock. So we had life. Our coaches preaching us. Keep going, keep fighting. A play will pop off eventually. Sadly it didn't, but it's the name of the game. So we just gotta keep going.
You mentioned, right, the messaging for you guys, barely first loss. For you, as obviously one of the veterans on the team, what's kind of the message to some of the younger players, right, to not let this compound into more at the end of the day, and to move on from this loss?
There's wins and losses in life. Like I said, you're not going to win every game. My fourth year in college now, I haven't won every game. So freshman, telling them you're not going to win every game. Just keeping your head up. It's not the end of the season. It's not our last game of the season. It was a good football team, and it hurts, but we got a lot of games on our schedule left, and we'll possibly see them again.
You over the years, you've played a number of top teams, opponents. How does that Texas Tech team compare to other elite squads you've played?
Nah, they like everybody else. They're a good team. They're highly ranked. They get a lot of media, but they strap their helmet up just like we strap our helmet up. So. I don't like the hype to, make it more anything, put any more stress on you. Just another game, but they're a good football team.
So once again, that was Houston Cougars defensive back Control Webb talking about the 35-11 loss to Texas Tech. Any comments stand out there? I think the biggest one, you can tell the frustration. And this is the really the competitiveness in him. He doesn't feel like it was Texas Tech. He felt like it was more of a Houston thing with all the issues that they had. But anything stand out to you from Control Webb's comments?
The frustration.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a good thing. But, he also acknowledged that, as we've said throughout the show, Tech was a better team tonight.
Yeah.
And we have no problem saying that. There's going to be times you lose it to a better team. That's part of sports. And got to be better, got to get better, and got to bounce back and get it done. Get back in the win column next Saturday against a struggling Oklahoma State team and win on the road and get that win in Stillwater. Offense has to play better. And we all agree on that.
Yeah, I think that's what stood out to me from his comments. He was like, defense, we was holding them and feeling confident in an achievement to hold them 3 points, which is a big 4-point swing. And like they were just waiting for the offense to pop off. And so we all were. And like Kris just said, we'll need the offense to play a lot better.
Listen, I don't want to spend time acknowledging, but listen, SIAS, like, we're gonna be here regardless whether win, lose, or draw. So we're good. We're chilling. Houston lost 35-11. Tip of the cap, right? Texas Tech came in here and they were the better team. Like Kris said, we don't have a problem saying that. We'll see you basketball season. That's all I got to say about that. Segue about this though, but the Houston Cougars Final Four rings, the men's basketball, those are legit.
They are nice,
Oh
man.
my
They
goodness,
are nice.
they
Those are some nice rings, man. A lot of bling bling in those rings,
a
man.
lot of diamonds, gold, 4 carat, diamond, whatever you want to call it, and on top of that, you can
You can take them off, take it off, take the
take them
top
off
off.
and they become pendants. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God. I don't kudos, Lauren Sampson, who oversaw the design of that and anyone else that partnered in creating those. But it has the number of all the players around the ring. It has the 3 championships that Houston won, which was the Big 12 regular season championship, the Big 12 tournament championship, and the Midwest regional championship, and then it has the Final Four logo. I mean, my God, that is. I got to see it up close and personal. Those are phenomenal rings.
And the detail in the rings, man, it always impresses me to get
Yeah.
to be so detailed and minute. And a ring is not, it's not a huge item, but to have everything in that ring, it's a really impressive thing. If you haven't seen it on the Cougs Twitter or Instagram, go check it out, man. Because
See it on Instagram. Let's reach Coogs. Like I
yes,
have an
I
up close
retweeted,
photo of that.
I reposted it on Houston Roundbar Review on Instagram too, as
Yeah.
well. Wow, yeah, it's in my story. It is really,
Those are awesome.
really
They're awesome,
impressive,
awesome,
man.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, Crabtree, that's a good point. Love the accountability on the players and the pressure signs of a very mature team. And again, growing, right? These are growing pains from even just a year ago, right? They won 4 games total last season, and quite frankly, some of those games were upsets, right? Houston very well could have ended up being a 2-win team last season. Now here we are sitting at 4-1, and the disappointment. It's a silver lining. The reason why there's a lot of disappointment is because they were 4-0, and there was a sliver of hope that Houston would have been able to pull off the upset. And at the end of the day, Texas Tech crushed those hopes, and they showed why they are not only a top 10 by this point tomorrow and going forward. They'll be a top 10 team ranked in the country, but as of now, they're the premier program of the Big 12 for the 2025 season. So kudos to the Red Raiders.
I will
And
say this. I hope that the committee gives Tech credit when the
yes,
polls finally come out in, what is it, the
yes.
first one to be in November,
Mm-hmm.
and not look at the
Halloween.
non-conference schedule and say, who was it, Arkansas Pine Bluff, or I think
Yeah, they played
Oregon State as
Arkansas Pine
well,
Bluff, and then who was their second opponent?
and you know,
Kent State.
and don't say and don't hold that against them, because the
Yeah,
Big 12 is a good conference, and don't say, well, who they beat in non-con, blah 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 blah. You know how the committee has been, and I think it's legitimately so, been criticized for ignoring teams that are not in the Big Ten and the SEC for what they do. I hope Tech does not get that treatment later on this season when the CFP and polls start coming out.
and Eric Crabtree makes a great point, right? Top 10 Penn State lost to winless UCLA. That was the fans are damn near about to throw a mutiny over there at UCLA, and they
But
lost
Penn
to the
State's in the
Bruins.
Big Ten. I mean,
Oh yeah,
so
yeah.
the committee could
Sorry,
say,
they're
oh
in the
well,
Big Ten, so they'll find a way to excuse that
right.
loss, right?
Well, UCLA, I mean,
Tough
UCLA's in the Big
Bruins.
Ten too and stuff, all that kind of trash. So my man, I'm just going to say this, okay? You're late to it. You have money, good for you. We have said throughout this show, Tech was the better team tonight. Tech is the class of the Big 12. So if you're choosing to ignore certain things, that's on you. Okay, we're going to do this show next Saturday after the game against Oklahoma State. Good luck to you, because I think maybe you won't agree because you may seem kind of delusional. But if Tech loses a game in the Big 12, the committee is going to say, well, they lost to a team in the Big 12. The Big 12 is not great this year. Well, they're not the SEC. They're not the Big 10. So then how good are they? Tech probably has to run the table to stay in the top 10. That's not right. That's not fair. But that's probably reality for teams that are not in the SEC and the Big 10.
which sucks. The Big Ten
Indeed.
SEC bias.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's why they expand the playoff but yeah, it sucks, man.
And
So,
your
well,
immaturity is showing too, man. So I'll just
for
go
sure.
ahead with all that, So
Listen, at the end of the day, he's commenting on our show, so he's
thank
giving
you.
us
Appreciate you. Yeah.
some kind of But listen, we welcome all comments, right? We could kick you out, but anyways, we also, you're right. Houston, Texas Tech came in here. They beat Houston at home, but then Houston went down to Lubbock and they got their get back too last season. Let's not forget that. That being said, once again, the final score from TDECU Stadium,
Oh, do
Houston
you want to
falls.
play Dean Connor's clip?
Yeah, let's play real quick before we head out. Hear what Dean Connors had to say after the game.
And sustain, some drives.
Yeah, I think it's just momentum's a big part of it. Starting off fast. First drive didn't go how we wanted it to go, but just gotta see what I can do better. That's all I can control, and I need to get better for my teammates, and then find ways to make my teammates better.
That first play, was it just instinct that you thought the ball was a pass where,
Yeah, all week it was, it wasn't designed to be backwards, and I guess for whatever reason it ended up being that way, and just bad bounce.
Did running on that defensive line and linebacking group feel different than the other teams you played this year?
Yeah, they're a great football team, and we knew up until this point that they were going to be our biggest test, and kudos to them. They played really well.
Dean, first quarter, first half overall, what would you attribute a lot of those turnovers early on, lack of execution, or from your perspective, what do you feel went on?
Yeah, I think it's just we're an offense that's we need to make the right decisions as a unit. It's not on any one person or anything. It's all of us working as one, and if for example me, if I miss a block on this play, that's that play, and we have to move on. And then if there's another mishap on another play, those add up, and we can't have those. And we got to maintain our focus and go play by play.
Dean, how hard is it to see Connor go out like that? And in his career, he's battled a lot of injuries. What's it like seeing that?
Yeah, it's tough. You never want to see any one of your teammates, especially when you're good friends, get hurt. But unfortunately, it's a part of the game, and we know he's a tough guy, and he's going to battle back, and we're praying for him.
Through 5 games offensively, do you feel like you guys have found your identity yet?
I think identity is going to be formed throughout the season, whether that's injuries or the teams you're playing, and if we stay stagnant, that'll end up being negative. So I think you're always just trying to mold it and always trying to get better. But yeah, I think our identity is just that we're a tough football team, and we're going to go out and we're going to play all 60 minutes.
Willie, tough time you guys have had to deal with the loss. What was it like in there, knowing that yes, it's a loss, but it's just one of 12 games?
Yeah, first one of the year, and we're going to bounce back and respond, but you have to treat winning and losing as the imposters they are. You can't you can't treat a loss differently than a win, because then you do this, and we're just trying to gradually grow, so we have to bounce back.
Dean, what made running so difficult? Their D-line, how does it compare to others you faced in your college career?
Yeah, they're strong and they're fast. They're a well-coached team. I think that has a lot to do with it. And they use good technique. But I've got to do better for my teammates and get more yards.
Dean, you've kind of touched on this, but what was the message from the coaching staff after this game?
Yeah, we have to learn from it. We have to watch every snap, see what we can do better. And the only thing you do is respond. You can't go play that team again. So we got to bounce back next week.
So that was Dean Connors after the game, what he had to say following Houston's 35-11 loss to Texas Tech. Again, the frustration from that voice right there. I mean, it really he's wearing an expression on his face in terms of what they felt from this loss to Texas Tech. And at the end of the day, they could just flip the page and get ready for Oklahoma State come next Saturday. uh, 11 a.m. kickoff Central Time between Houston and Oklahoma State.
TNT.
And any final thoughts on this game that we can wrap up before we go ahead and put a pin on it?
I like how he worded it, saying, describing wins and losses as the imposters that they are. that's that's a different way of expressing. I haven't heard that before. So, kudos to Dean for that comment. And we'll see if they can bounce back and not compound this and start a 2-game losing streak, but get back in the win column and improve to 5-1 with a win in Stillwater next Saturday.
Yeah.
Dayon, say it.
I say he bounce back next week, kind of show the culture shifted, culture's changing. And it's not going let one loss turn into another and another and kind of make it like it's the same with Houston. I still feel like this is a different program headed in the right direction. Got the right staff in place, still tweak some things, get things in order, get the guys ready, a couple adjustments. They definitely need Connor back, and I think we can still make this a successful season. A lot of games left, favorable schedule, and just hopefully Connor is healthy. He's good going forward. Definitely going to need him back. Bright spots in the defense. Looking forward to the rest of the season, man. As always, go Coogs.
Real quickly before we sign out,
Oh,
once again, I'd like to say thank you to Mike and Jennifer Pittman with Star Pizza for being a sponsor of not only this edition of Let's Rage Cougs, but they've quite frankly been sponsors in the beginning, going way back when a few years ago. Also, big thank you to Mr. Steve Saxenian for being the primary sponsor of this edition of Let's Rage Cougs. However you may be listening, wherever you may be listening, this is Let's Rage Cougs presented by the Saxenian Family. We'll be back next weekend, Saturday afternoon, following Houston and Oklahoma State. And I also want to give a shout out to the Coogs and Tailgate. They had Kenneth Bowman and they hosted us for a live show that, you know, live technical difficulties, but we had a lot of fun out there, and we were finally able to post it on the YouTube channel. So if you weren't able to check it out, feel free, click that. That was a big fun. They had Big City Wings, all the things out there. So big shout out to the Coogs and Tailgate. Highly recommend you check them out if you're at a Houston Cougars home game this season and really any season. They've been at it for a while, so big thank you to them. And if you're just new to the channel, be sure to hit like, whether you are on YouTube, on X. Be sure to retweet or repost or audio only. Give it a like, give it reviews, and like I said, we will be back next week following Houston, Oklahoma State for Let's Rage Coogs.
And real quick, with, I guess, the eventual success that Andy and Kenneth had with today's pregame show, there may be a couple of times we're going to try to do a pregame show during Big 12 men's basketball season on a weekend. On a Saturday, I think Coogs said, what I say, Andy? 9 of 10 games on Saturday and 1 on Sunday.
Correct.
So we'll try to get mix in a pregame show before the game, and then do, of course, have the Let's Rage Cougs postgame show after the game. And hey, if you're out there, if you want to be a sponsor of the pregame shows, Andy, how do they get in touch with
Let's
you?
Rage Coogs at gmail.com. One last thing. If you came up, there was a lot of, there you go, Kris, Let's Rage Coogs at gmail.com. There's a lot of people that just came up during the tailgate or even during the game, walking into the stadium. If you did that, I appreciate it 100 times. I know sometimes, Kris, they stop you during the men's basketball games this season. It means a lot. Big thank you to every single one of y'all. If you've just watched, if you've given a like, if you've reposted any way that you've supported the show. Big thank you. It never gets old. A big shout out to Juan Miranda too. He's a longtime supporter. Way back when, going back to COVID, when we first started the Pod Slam and Jamma podcast at all, at the Texas Juan on Twitter. Big shout out to him. I finally got to meet him in person. So big thank you to everyone that came out and just said what's up during the tailgate and during the game.
yeah, that's cool, man. I can't wait to come back and touch some people. Appreciate all the support and all the interactions we get, even the people who don't comment, all the eyes that we see, people that retweet us and tweet us. Definitely appreciate all the support. I'm looking forward to it, man. I definitely feel like Houston is gaining ground. They already gained all that ground in the basketball, so we know it's different. I'm just waiting on each sport to kind of change. I think seems like the right culture and the right vibe in different sports are getting ready to kind of take that next step and where it all come together. It's gonna be a beautiful thing to see. Yeah. Always go Coogs, baby. Mm.